Warning, this video is not made for kids. If you're a kid, go away. Five Nights at Freddy's. Whether you love it or hate it, you can't deny it had a great influence on modern day indie horror games. Not only was Five Nights at Freddy's one of the most influential indie games of all time, it is also the most important, as it was the one, alongside Minecraft, to bring indie games to the mainstream. Now, some might try to fight me on this, but who has to feature-length films? But seriously, for nearly the span of 5 years, you could not escape from this franchise. It was the SpongeBob of indie games. Both have fans that are divided by the series quality in the later entries, and a lot of infighting over subjective opinions. With the only difference being that the one catered to kids has grown-ass adults screaming, while the latter has kids screaming about child murder. And I was one of those kids. That's right, I was one of those cringy FNAF kids during its early days. Good thing I didn't have a YouTube channel back then, otherwise I would have been an absolute streamer that would have been in those cringe compilations. Which, by the way, I am so glad people are calling out cringe culture, making others feel scared to be a fan of something that they love in fear of being bullied. And that's what it is. Bullying. With a side of ableism. I was all over this franchise, a real hardcore fan, and keyword was. As of now, I'm more of a casual fan, for reasons I will get into later. I was actually thinking about making a video on this franchise ever since my Ed and Eddie creepypasta video, but I didn't want to at the time. And that's mainly due to me not wanting to be a gaming channel, or even be fully seen as one, as my content is focused on a little bit of everything, but at the moment I'm more into games. But another reason why I didn't, and to pull back the curtains a bit, I didn't have enough confidence in myself to make a video on it. Because anxiety is a bitch. But thanks to you guys and my Slaughter Me Street video taking off as well as it did, gave me the confidence to do it, so I just wanted to say, thank you. But I also want to make it clear that this is not a mascot horror channel. Far from it, because Five Nights at Freddy's and 123 Slaughter Me Street are the only mainstream mascot horror games that I like. All the rest are more obscure franchises like Case Animatronics and... I could really care less about Poppy, Bendy, etc. I don't hate them, it's just that I don't really find them interesting. I like Slaughter Me Street, Case, and to some extent FNAF because they were darker and grittier. The rest are just not appealing to me with its bright, oversaturated colors and goofy looking characters. Of course, it's a mercy kill from what others have to say about this genre, as mascot horror is such a polarizing subject in the gaming community. On the one end, it has inspired kids and others to get into game design and let out their creativity and artistic visions. While on the other end, many think it's not real horror or horror in general, as apparently only psychological is the only thing that is allowed to be horror. And if you want to sound like a pretentious dipshit, just call all mascot horror slop, as slop pretty much just lost all of its meaning. People can be really mean to this genre, but at the same time, I also don't blame them. I do roll my eyes whenever I see yet another mascot horror game that is trying to be the next FNAF or Poppy Playtime, but hey, the same thing was happening during the Slender Man craze. Now, of course, I could always change my mind when it comes to playing the other mascot horror games, as I will not rule out doing a future video on, say, like Poppy, Bendy, Baldy, Hello Neighbor. Wait, why is Hello Neighbor considered a mascot horror game? What is he even the mascot of? His house? He's the mascot of his house? Of course he is, he fucking lives there. He ain't special. But anyways, I'm a very casual fan of mascot horror. As it is a preference, I much prefer psychological when it's fans to make me want to kill myself. Cosmic, grindhouse horrors are also what I love as well. I like my horror dirty, gritty, and bloody, even gory. Pretty much batshit insane. These colorful, wacky, zacky characters and their super squeaky clean visuals don't cut it for me, but that's just my subjective opinion. If you like them, that's great. More power to you. And Five Nights at Freddy's being the game to start the genre, even though I believe the term mascot horror wasn't even coined until like somewhere between 2021 or 2022. I must say that when it comes to this franchise, Endo is objectively the sexiest animatronic. And subjectively looking back at it now, I just don't really find the game scary anymore. Except for the very first game. It's cliche, but there's a reason why this game took off the way it did, and started an entire franchise in the first place. The tone, the atmosphere, and more importantly, the charm. But before we go over this, we first must learn about who made it. It's Scott. Who the hell doesn't know Scott Coffin? Who clicks on a FNAF video without knowing who Scott is? The SCOTT himself? You know, he made animations and Christian sci-fi games that almost everyone hated, so he said, you know what? I'm gonna make a scary game, and he did. So anyways, on to the game itself. So one important thing I should say is that this is actually my first time ever playing the original. Yeah, I was one of those fans. I played Security Breach and Secret of the Mimic first. And taking control for the first time, I got to say, can't believe the camera goes up by just simply putting your mouse on the prompt. For the longest time, I thought you had to click on it to put it up, so it was a bit awkward at first, but hey, thank God Scott did, because it came in clutch near the end. So we all know the crux of the gameplay. Look through the cameras to find furries, 2 come from either side and then they fuck off, 1 plays peekaboo and runs to get your ass, and 1 laughs and takes up half of your fucking power through the last few nights. And who are all these killer 4 robotic charlatans? Well, there are 4, technically 5 enemies. These enemies are Freddy, Chica, Foxy, and Golden Freddy. They are the main reason why this game took off the way it did. Not that whole lore bullshit. It's second and it will always be second to funny killer animals that people want to fuck. But mainly they want to fuck the mascots themselves, as there is that awkward thing about the dead kids who haunt the animatronics, but they try to separate it. They try, but it will always be awkward. That's why Endo is the best. But when it comes to the popularity of each character, it's interesting to see how much they change in the eyes of the fans over the years. And speaking from my own personal experience, my opinion has changed on them drastically as well. Like, for example, Freddy. For being the face of the franchise, having both his name and face on the cover, Freddy was easily the most forgettable of the 4, and I know that I wasn't alone on this when the game first came out. While he had his fans, a lot of us could really care less about him. He was quite boring compared to his bandmates. He did not have the personality like Chica and Foxy did, or the intimidation and fear factor like Bonnie did. The only real thing that he had going for him was both his laugh, you know, his brr, and his jingle when the power went out. Also, I always found his no-power jump scare kinda goofy looking. Scott tried to make him more mysterious than the others by having him hide in the dark, but his golden counterpart was better at being mysterious than him, and he was just a lousy recolor. Of course, now, Freddy is much more loved than he was before, and that is mainly thanks to both Security Breach and Sister Location. Now, Freddy is one of my favorites from the cast, and I can now appreciate the mysterious flair he has. I will admit, he looks intimidating in this game. Which the same I can't say about Bonnie. This is probably going to be a hot take, but I've never cared for Bonnie. I've never found him interesting. I find him scary, but that's really it. I have very little to say about him other than he's easily the most annoying character to deal with in this game. And he's blue. So yeah, sorry to all the Bonnie fans out there, as I know he was fighting with Foxy as the fan favorite. Unfortunately now, Bonnie's popularity has gone down significantly. But it's not even really his fault, as he's kind of been thrown a bit into the wayside in these last few games, only really making a few cameos. Same could be said about Foxy. 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 The root cause of many furry awakenings, this red-orange fox was everyone's favorite. Back then, you couldn't find a single FNAF fan who didn't have Foxy as their favorite character. It was the vanilla ice-cold take. And I was one of them. Yeah, I like Foxy. He was cool in every game he was in, and just cool in general. For one, he had unique mechanics compared to the other animatronics, you know, just close the door and keep them out, oh boo-hoo. This guy, you had to spy on him, or he would run down and kill you, which I think is the main reason why so many people like him. It was just simply because he was different, and people like being different. Of course, Foxy, being the dirty pirate that he is, stole Bonnie's run from the trailer. No wonder he's bitter about having to share Pirate's Cove with him in Ultimate Custom Night. But another thing that helped is that he didn't use the same body model like the other four did. He sticked out from the cast, and he was just oozing with personality. But as time went on, I kind of ended up hating Foxy. And that's because I was just so goddamn tired of seeing him everywhere. Like, geez man, every SFM or Gmod animation was about him. You couldn't escape that guy, not to mention how the fans treated him. It was usually people wanting him to be a good guy for some reason, even though he kills you for the rest of your life. If you have like a weird parasocial relationship with him, like, God, the wars of people being like, oh my God, Foxy's a good guy. If you disagree, you deserve to die. This is why I hate kids. It's mostly just kids who like them, or it's just furries, as they make up like 50% of this entire community back then. Hell, they probably make up now like 70% thanks to security breach. But just like Bonnie, Foxy has been thrown out the windshield. Well, before Secret of the Mimic, that is. Others like myself miss our favorite pirate, occasionally femboy Fox. Last but not least, we have Chica. Everyone's third favorite character, as she was a little more popular than Freddy, but not as much as Bon and Fox. Which sucks because I like Chica. She was my second favorite, as I found her to be the scariest of them all, with her dead-ass stare and endo-piercing teeth. Endo-piercing teeth. It's funny how now they are trying to portray her as cute as possible, while in the first game, she just stood there with her about to shank a bitch look. Also, for the first few months after the game came out, I thought Chica was a guy. I don't know why, I just did. I even remember watching a YouTube video that was trying to do like concepts of what the characters would sound like, and when they got to Chica, I was like so shocked to find out that he was actually a she. Of course, it's silly to think of that now, as her name is literally Chica, which is Spanish for girl, but in my defense, I'm a fish. I can't climb a tree. Oh yeah, Golden Freddy, I'm not gonna talk about him in this video, as I'm saving him for FNAF 2. Of course, the internet kinda has ruined the scare factor of these characters with their memes and amorous art, which, by the way, young Guppy Skrawnes had to learn the hard way about safe search, which I don't know why it was off. I blame my brother for that. But let's just say that young Skrawny found out what futa was that day. Yeah. But luckily for me, except my psyche, this game reminded me just how scary they can be, which is helped by the environment. The pizzeria itself feels like its own character. It's like that gauntlet thing from the Justice League or whatever the hell it's called. They're like the stones that go together, with the final piece being the pizzeria, and together as one, they summon Captain Planet, and I don't know where I'm going with this, so I'm gonna shut up right now. The dark, foreboding atmosphere, coupled with the rundown aesthetics, comes together to help mask the cartoony models. I know that a lot of people weren't happy about security breaches humans looking cartoony, but I don't get why. FNAF always had a cartoony art style. I mean, it's literally Scott's main and only art style. But not to say that in a bad way, well, actually, sort of. Scott really nailed the tone, trying to make this game as creepy and special as possible in order to save his career, and he succeeded. FNAF just has fun with itself, which, if you ask me, should be the most important thing when you're making a game. You can tell Scott had a lot of fun making this, especially with the phone guy's witty dialogue.
Hello? Hello? I wanted to forcefully stuff you inside a Freddy Fazbear suit.
So much personality, and even though I really hate using this word, aura, around this game. And speaking of aura, one of the things that was special about FNAF in my eyes was that not only was this game scary, it's also weird. I'm not sure how many people talked about this with the first game, but Five Nights at Freddy's has such a weird aura around it. And it's really hard for me to explain why, because even I will admit I don't exactly know why. Maybe because it's eerie or all the mystery around it, but the game just has this strange edge that none of its sequels managed to capture. Of course, it also helps with its story, kids being killed and stuffed into suits and are now haunting the bodies of the mascots, doomed to forever roam the pizzeria, lost, scared, miserable, but more importantly, angry. It's simple but effective, and I've always liked ghosts and the supernatural, and FNAF uses it to its full potential, with the moans that come out of the animatronics occasionally, and the stories of reported bodily fluids leaking from the mask. It just oozes with creepiness and makes you, think. Well, that was stupid. Now, of course, I'm just praising this game like it's the second coming of Christ, but I do have issues with it. And it mainly has to do with its gameplay. We all know the gameplay loop of FNAF. Look at the camera and check the lights and close the door and repeat. So you don't get jump scared, but be careful. Manage your power properly or it's game over. Not! But the main issue I have with the gameplay is actually the camera mechanic. As after night 1, the other cameras become basically useless, as the only one you have to look at is Pirate's Cove. There's no point to look for Bonnie and Chica, as you can just simply check the lights to see if they are there. Hell, in the late game, they become even easier as they make that loud demonic gibberish. When Freddy gets introduced, the other cameras do become a bit more useful again, as you're trying to keep track of him as he slowly makes his way to Cam 4B, but still, you can just listen to his laughs, mainly just wait for his theme to stop playing in the kitchen, then listen to him as he only has 2 more cams to go through. There are some misconceptions about Freddy when it comes to this game, most notably that you always have to close the right door every time he laughs, or that once he reaches Cam 4B, he will always be there and will never leave. This is not fully true, as that only happens in 24 mode. Night 1 through 6, he goes back and forth between Cam 4B and Cam 4A. He doesn't leave the Cam 4 area, but he doesn't strictly stay in Cam 4B. You have to hear his laughs as he goes back and forth. Sometimes I do have to check the cameras as I get distracted by either Bonnie or Foxy and I lose track of which laugh is the good one and which one is the bad one. Sometimes my dumbass forgot to check and I end up getting killed. Anyways, yeah, Foxy kinda makes the rest of the cameras pointless. Which sucks as, you know, it's the main gameplay loop. Speaking of sucking, one thing that really annoys me is when the doors just jam sometimes for no reason. Now, of course, most of it is my fault, but most of the time it feels like complete bullshit. The game just goes "fuck you" and kills you. I thought I was doing something wrong and was looking it up to see if anyone had any answers for this, but most of them just point out the obvious, and that being, you screwed up and let one of the animatronics in. But did I though? Most of the time the doors jam, I turn on the light to see them, like you're supposed to do, and the door just jams. I'm not sure if you have to react lightning fast to close the door, but I don't know. Or maybe I just suck, but it's still infuriating nonetheless. It's part of the overall issue with a game like this, where it becomes harder and harder as you progress the night. It's a double-edged sword as yes, a challenge is good, but FNAF is one of those games where it goes from being scary to annoying fast. For all the ones who never played the first game and just watch other YouTubers play it, and you want to play it for the first time and you want to have that prime horror experience and not a frustrating one, I would recommend that you only play the first 3 nights, as once you complete night 3, just skip night 4, 5, and 6, as you're just gonna be exhausted and frustrated. But still, that's just a me problem. I'm saying that because I blew through nights 1 through 3 really easily. They were not a challenge at all. Night 4 gave me a few issues, but I still beat it after my 5th or 6th try. While night 5, on the other hand, took me nearly 16 to 17 tries. Hell, probably even more, because holy hell, there is a massive difficulty spike between night 4 and 5. The game really kicked my ass here. But that's what I get for being a newbie, I guess. Also, I tried to beat 24 mode, but I'm just not good enough for it. I don't have the patience as my brain is fried. I really wish Scott didn't remove that lives feature, because oh my god, I could really use it. There's also the Easter eggs, I know, nice transition, that are filled with tidbits of lore, but I'm pretty sure 90% of you watching already know this. Tinky Winky kills kids and stuff them. When it comes to me and the lore, I used to be a huge fan. It was one of the main things that kept me coming back, besides from the animatronics. I used to watch the shit out of both Smike and Game Theory, which I used to care a lot back when it was just a simple ghost story / murder mystery that took place in a rundown pizzeria. I've always liked the idea before the second game came out that Freddy Fazbear's Pizza was this really obscure, nearly forgotten local restaurant. I don't know, like Baldi's Pizza or something, that only the people in town know, given off its mysterious edge. Before it turns out that Freddy's is the most popular establishment in the world, with horror attractions and giant super malls. Ugh. My opinions about the lore after the 4th game are complicated, to say the least. I am planning on making videos about the other games in the series, spin-offs and more, but I should warn you guys, I have a lot of controversial opinions. A lot of you are probably gonna hate me near the end of the series. You're just gonna learn just how much of a dirty contrarian I am. But to put it lightly, I hate about almost half of the lore in this series. I think it's gotten really stupid. Not to mention the more kid-friendly approach the series has been going in lately. Now, of course, I don't want FNAF to be a Terrifier-style slasher, as many act like this series was this gruesome, bloody, violent, hardcore horror, but FNAF was always tamed by horror standards. Most of what you get would be like a bit of blood and that's it, as like a lot of these videos trying to remake the first game, but they ruin it by having these loud-ass horror stingers that just completely kill the atmosphere, as the first FNAF game was way more subtle about its horror than what many may think. A little Mandela effect for you, by the way. I always remembered the game over screen having blood leaking out of the eye holes, but nope, it never did. So yeah, 5 out of 5 best horror ever! But no, FNAF is a decent game, but it does get weighed down a bit by its gameplay. But however, it is carried by the atmosphere, the subtlety, and the animatronics, and pretty much everything else. It's a win-win, so I'll give this game a solid 4 out of 5. But since I'm not a big fan anymore, maybe this little series I'm gonna do can get me back into the loving grace of the Robo Bear. But only time will tell, so wish me horrible luck. And until next time, we'll take a trip to the prequel, which is also a sequel, but is actually a prequel, but it's also... Hello, hey, this is me doing this, post-production recording again because I didn't realize my mic was turned off on OBS, so, God, I'm stupid, yeah, this is me doing it again, and add insult to injury, my, headphones snapped in half. Hooray for me. So, hey, it's been a while, hasn't it? Once again, I go missing for 2 to 3 months, and, just upload like nothing happened. But, I'm trying, man, like, I really am, I'm trying to be more consistent with these videos, but, yeah, this video, I'm not too proud of it, to be honest. I think it's pretty bare bones and simplistic. But it also, this simplistic video took me like stupidly long to make. But that's mainly due to the fact that, not to bullshit you guys or anything, but the reason why it took so long is like, it went through a few rewrites, a few re-edits, parts that I thought were not funny, or even I will admit were just too hard to edit. Some parts where I just couldn't find any good pieces to fit in. But one of the main reasons also why I didn't, like, it took so long, and not to bullshit you guys, but these last 2 months, and especially these last few weeks, they've been rough. They've been really rough for me. It's mainly just that I've been really having a hard time trying to stay motivated. I just had no motivation to do anything. Dragging my feet on this video, just barely working on the editing software, just barely working on the video in general. And it's just like I've just been sitting on my bed pretty much all day, just rotting away. But and make it worse, it's like I'm also just so stressed out, even though I was doing really nothing, and it sucked. It really sucked. But luckily for me, I'm doing a lot better now. I'm a lot happier. I'm not sad or stressed out as much. Still a little stressed out, but and even though I think this video is very subpar, I do promise that my next FNAF video, which is FNAF 2, hopefully, I'm planning on making it a bit more better, coherent, much more easier to follow, much more better editing, better, hopefully better voice acting. Hopefully I can learn to record my voice and sound like a normal fucking person. But to like all 400 of you that actually like give a damn. But I'm doing this entire scene about a script, so mine's kind of going blank a bit. But I think I've recorded this like literally a day before this was supposed to release. It's like midnight right now. Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, thank you for just being really patient with me, because even I'm like, come on, man, you gotta upload these videos. Why are you just slacking off? Just upload these damn videos, you idiot. It's like, beat myself up over it a lot, which is not healthy. Like, YouTube's supposed to be for fun, and I'm not making it fun for myself, but I'm gonna be making a few changes with my channel. A few changes, even though I stated that in this video. I was supposed to do FNAF 2 next. I decided that that's not gonna happen. I'm gonna do like another video in between. I'll explain more in my next upload, which hopefully will be released. And there won't be a 600,000 year gap between it. But yeah, it's just once again just thank you guys for being patient, for the support and stuff. And before I go, I also want to give a shout out to the user Blizzard Cooler for making me this thumbnail. It's really cool. I really like it. I'm sorry if I disappoint you with the fact that I'm not going to use it. It's like, 'cause like I said in the video, I don't really care for well, I'm a very laid-back, casual fan of mascot horror. I don't really care for it. FNAF and Slaughter Machine are like the only, in case, are like the only ones I actually care about. It's like, I'm sorry if like you're disappointed with it. I know you worked really hard, I can tell. And I'm still very, very flattered that you made me a thumbnail. I really appreciate it. So, yeah, with all that said, see you all in my next upload, and hopefully the FNAF video is, the FNAF 2 video, is a lot better. So, yeah, see you all, goodbye. Have fun. Wish me horrible luck. And hopefully I won't see you in 5 years. See you later.